Since the October 7th attacks by Hamas in Israel and the Israeli government's bombardment of the Gaza Strip, Canadian authorities have recorded an alarming increase in anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim hate. Last year, the United Nations declared March 15th as the International Day to Combat Islamophobia. This date also marks 5 years since a gunman murdered 51 Muslim worshippers in a vicious terrorist attack during prayers at a mosque in Christchurch, New Zealand. We know Canadian Muslims have been severely impacted by terror attacks here, from London, Ontario, to Quebec, where 6 men were killed when a gunman opened fire in an Islamic cultural center in Quebec City. Tonight, we're joined by Tabassum Wyne, the Executive Director of the Muslim Advisory Council of Canada. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I want to begin by asking you about the significance of this day, especially as we reflect on the recent verdict and sentencing in London, Ontario, following the senseless murders of the Afzal family.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me here today, Nicole. This day is very significant to the community in that Islamophobia is rampant in Canada. We at the Muslim Advisory Council of Canada just had a community consultation with the RCMP and CSIS, and one thing they said was Islamophobia is not going down. And as we see the verdict for the Afzal family, he was labeled a terrorist, and I believe that's the absolutely correct labeling. And this day is a reminder of all the souls we've lost due to Islamophobia, particularly in Canada.
Now, how has the war in Gaza amplified fears or attacks amongst the Muslim community in Canada?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to correct you a little bit. We don't think it's a war. It's a genocide on the people of Gaza. And, we're seeing ridiculous numbers of people being killed. It's about 30,000 people who have been killed, half of which are children, and it's deeply impacting our Canadian Muslim communities. And we're being impacted in various sectors. We deal with the education sector, the healthcare sector, the policing sector, the gender-based violence sector, and of course with government as well. And when our leaders are not taking a stand and not speaking up for our communities, it really impacts the community. There's a lot of fear, but there's a lot of incidences of hate crimes and hate incidences where these individuals are experiencing Islamophobia, but they're not reporting it due to the distrust of these institutions. So there's a lot of incidents that are happening, but about 80% of all hate crimes and incidences are not reported to the police. And that stat is coming from Stats Canada. So it's even more concerning to us as a Muslim organization, where we understand that our community potentially is not reporting, and this is how policy is happening. And if our communities aren't reporting, then it means our voices are not being heard at the highest level, and that's deeply concerning to us.
There's obviously so much more that needs to be done, but what would you like our viewers to take away tonight when it comes to combating Islamophobia?
Yeah, so I would just like your viewers to know that Islamophobia should not just be on the Muslim community to combat. It's on every single Canadian to confront. And I would say contact your local officials, your elected officials, because it's on each of us to raise our voices and our concerns when things like, the attack on the Afzal family or the ongoing genocide in Gaza are occurring. It's on each of us to ensure that our human rights are upheld, not only in Canada, but globally as well.